In order to begin the story, we need to go back to 1994, the year when Milan had last won the Champions League, while they dismantled Johan Cruyff's dream team by 4-0 to lift their 5th European Cup at that time. This was a hugely successful season for Milan, as they had also won their 14th Scudetto that season, and all indications pointed to success in the following years. But what happened in the following season was well below expectations, as despite winning the Supercoppa d'Italia and the European Super Cup, the Rossoneri suffered due to poor and inconsistent form in the league. Milan found themselves in the 7th position by the middle of the season and eventually finished in the 4th position, 13 points behind the champions Juventus. Despite this, Milan finished 2nd in the Champions League group, but they lost their opening match to Van Gaal's Ajax and were docked 2 points after fans threw a sound bomb at Salzburg goalkeeper Otto Conrad. Milan were banned by UEFA from playing the rest of their home games at San Siro in the group stage. A draw against AEK Athens and another loss to Ajax left their qualification hanging by a thread. A solitary goal from Massaro in the last match against Salzburg allowed Milan to scrap through in 2nd place. Milan looked like a completely different team in the knockout stages as they defeated both Benfica and Paris Saint-Germain, both home and away, without conceding a single goal. This run took them to their 3rd consecutive Champions League final, but unfortunately for Milan, they faced Van Gaal's Ajax again, who reached the final after thrashing Bayern Munich by 5-2. The match was tightly contested, but Ajax broke the deadlock through Patrick Kluivert, set up by former Milan player Frank Rijkaard. The Rossoneri received some sad news as their legendary striker Marco van Basten was forced to end his career due to niggling injuries after being on the sidelines for 2 years, as now the search for a new number 9 would begin. They signed the Liberian George Weah after an exceptional season at PSG, due to which he won the prestigious Ballon d'Or, as he remains the first and only African player till date to have won the award. They also signed Roberto Baggio, Paulo Futre, Ambrosini and Vieira, as Milan had a fantastic season both domestically and also won their 15th Scudetto by a comfortable margin. They also won 21 of their 34 matches, drew in 10 and lost only 3 matches. Milan also succeeded in winning an official title in 9th consecutive season. But in the following seasons, the Rossoneri would face hardships for the first time in the Berlusconi era. For the first time, Milan no longer felt like Berlusconi's primary project as he shifted his focus towards politics. Problems began when Capello left Milan for Real Madrid. The club initially targeted Giovanni Trapattoni as his replacement, but he chose Bayern Munich instead. Milan then appointed the Uruguayan coach, Oscar Tabarez, following a successful spell at Cagliari. Despite an active transfer market that brought in Jesper Blomqvist, Edgar Davids, Christophe Dugarry, and Michael Riesger, the core of the squad remained largely unchanged. Results quickly deteriorated as Milan lost the Supercoppa d'Italia to Fiorentina and were eliminated in the Champions League group stage and suffered a damaging defeat to Piacenza, which led to Tabarez's dismissal. Milan replaced him with Arrigo Sacchi, who had been sacked by the Italian national team. Sacchi's return failed to revive Milan's fortunes as the Rossoneri finished in a shocking 11th position in Serie A, a whole 23 points behind the champions Juventus. They ended the season 10 points short of European qualification and just 6 points above the relegation zone. Amongst the lowest moments was a humiliating 6-1 defeat to Juventus at San Siro, which is till date Milan's heaviest home loss. The season marked the end of an era as club legends Franco Baresi and Mauro Passotti retired, with Milan officially retiring Baresi's iconic number 6 shirt. The Italian Fabio Capello returned back to Milan after successfully guiding Real Madrid to La Liga title the previous season. Departures included Marco Simoni and Roberto Baggio, as they signed players like Kluivert, Leonardo and others. But unfortunately, many of these signings would flop as Milan only won 7 of their first 20 league matches and found themselves in the 9th position by beginning of February. Milan managed to win only 4 of their next 14 matches and suffered some absolutely humiliating losses, one of which was against Inter Milan, where they lost by 3-0, a 4-1 loss against eventual champions Juventus. a 3-0 loss against Bologna, and a 5-0 loss against Roma, which was the biggest defeat that Milan suffered in Serie A that season. The Rossoneri finished the league in 10th position, a whopping 30 points behind Juventus. Despite this, Milan reached the Coppa Italia final that season, where on their way they defeated Inter by 5-0 and went on to face Lazio. And despite winning the first leg by 1-0, Lazio made a comeback and defeated Milan in the second leg and won the Coppa Italia. Milan needed a lot of work to get back to the top, and thus the search began for the new manager.